Hello, and thank you for listening to this Ringside Report Network podcast today. You can find more in-depth, exclusive written content on our website at ringsidereport.net. Before I hand it off to Dave and the team, I want to remind you that we are a listener-supported creator team. On our website, we would appreciate it if you supported our sponsors or purchased our exclusive merch. Branded clothing, mugs, and even jiu-jitsu gear, which are available only in our store. You can become a recurring supporter of our content at membership.ringsidereport.net. This, along with all our podcasts, is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon, iHeart, and TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. It would help us immensely if you left a positive review on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Thank you for your support and enjoy the show.
It's Ringside Report MMA. Tonight we're previewing UFC 314. Let's do that.
Let's go!
I mean, that's what we're here for. So, that's what we're going to do. The Incredible Hulk is with us. AJ, I think, is behind him somewhere.
The Little Hulk.
Little Hulk AJ. AJ the Little Hulk D'Alessio.
What's up, boys? How you doing? What's shaking, Bacon?
What's shaking? Bacon. I don't know. We're good. I'm good. Fred, how are you?
I'm great.
Hey, how about that?
Fred's in top shape, man.
I'm shaking my bacon.
Ooh, he's shaking that bacon currently.
Ooh,
Don't do that on
man.
camera, Fred.
I mean, you could. We might get more money.
I think we might kicked off YouTube. Will be a good move.
Yeah, we'll just go to OnlyFans and that's it. That's where the show continues. Look,
that show
I
would
want to
not
say
be
most.
I don't want to do that show with you guys.
The shake and bake?
I mean, if I don't know. That the OnlyFans version of Ringside Report MMA is not pretty. It's not pretty.
Does Naked News still exist? You remember when the internet started, there was nakednews.com. Does that still exist?
I doubt it. I mean, it seems irrelevant at this point, doesn't it? Like, why?
Why? For sure. It was great news.
So much
great broadcasting.
Great news. That's where AJ got all his news and where he continues to get his news.
All the weather.
Yeah.
All the weather stuff. It was great.
AJ gets all his facts
Where's
and
she from?
information
Australia?
from Naked News. I don't know.
David, it was one of the most watched news channels at one point. Just saying.
I don't think it was a news channel.
Yes, it was. They would read it was real news, but the host would be topless or whatever.
It wasn't on was it on TV?
No, it was on the internet.
Okay. But you had to pay for it, no? You had to subscribe to this?
I guess so.
Not in the beginning. You used to get clips,
You see, now I'm gonna have to go on Google, research some dangerous.
I'm just trying to remember where was she
I think
from.
we're good. I think we're good.
No, let Freddie do it.
Let's
Come
move on.
Dave.
Let's not do a deep dive on this.
I'm sure. Pardon the pun, but that could be interesting.
All right. Well, the Red Sox beat the Blue Jays. How about that?
What?
That's good. The Jays lost today to the Red Sox. Johnny's happy. Johnny's in the chat. My boy, Big Johnny.
Yeah. Big
Yankees
John.
won yesterday. That's good. Yankee didn't play today. They'll play again tomorrow against the Giants, who are red hot. That'll be an interesting series.
I mean, nakednews.com still exists, and you can have free access to daily shows by entering your email. No credit card required.
Damn, I'm going to use that. Dave, what's your email again?
Let's not do that. Let's not sign Dave up to Naked News. I bet you need a credit card somewhere down the road there, Fred. I'm not believing that no credit card required. Usually they say that, but it's like, But we'll take your information anyways, just in case. Okay. You've got UFC 314 this weekend. And before we get into the preview and all of that, we got to give it up to AJ, unfortunately, because he is red hot, Fred. He's 3 weeks in a row. The AJ parlay has won. This is unprecedented in the history of Ringside Report MMA. This has never happened in the many years that we've been doing this show together, I mean, how long has it been that we've allowed AJ to be part of the regular show, Fred?
It's been a while.
It's been years, right? And I can't recall a time when his picks have come through more than once in a blue moon, let alone 3 weeks in a row. It's just so rare. It's crazy.
Remember
We're
when I
living
said
in
a couple
unprecedented times, Fred. The AJ times, which is a dangerous era to be living in. I don't know if I like this AJ era. It's AJ time, and
I was going to say something, but Dave might not be happy, But, it could be the Trump factor, Just keep on winning.
Yeah, he seems victorious these days. I don't know.
Listen, remember what I told you a couple of weeks ago? I said, I'm taking things serious. Like, I'm going to really break it down. I got a new crystal ball. I said, I'm going for it. And I did, man. 3 in a row. I got a new crystal ball.
So what was the payout last week on his parlay? Because is it still like? Because I don't like, to be honest. I don't pay attention to your parlays, but now I'm gonna have to pay attention because you hit 3, so I gotta respect that. But because usually you always have these crazy parlays that have no chance, but maybe they're more realistic. The recent ones.
No, they weren't. Like, there were some underdogs there.
Yeah. It wasn't like a terrible payout. I know mine paid out like $9. My parlay won too, and I've won 2 in a row, by the way. Let's not forget about me. AJ's just won 3 in a row, but I've won 2 in a row, which is also pretty cool. I'm not
nice.
mad at that.
As long as we make money for our viewers, man.
But my parlay last week was like a 2-fight parlay. They both won, but like whatever. And the card last week, I watched, I'm going to say none of it. None of it. For sure, none of it. AJ, what did you have? Did you have a crazy parlay last week that came through?
No, I didn't have a crazy parlay.
Did you have one where it was 20, got you 220? Is that?
Well, I got Leron Murphy. Like I said, he would win over Josh Emmett. I thought that was pretty solid. I got Pat Sabatini, and I thought he was going to win by I thought he was going to win by submission, but he ended up winning by decision.
You had a 4-fight parlay.
Yeah, and I was actually going to be more because I wanted Lee Chang Ho,
one of the fights got canceled, right?
Right. One of them got canceled, but I wanted Lee Chang Ho, but we couldn't put it in the Bet99 pick, or else that would have been another win with a little bit more money.
So you had... In the end, you had Talita Alencar over Vanessa Demopoulos. That won. Talita was a slight favorite. Pat Sabatini was a plus 180 underdog. You called him over Joe Anderson Brito. That was a big one. And then Leron Murphy over Josh Emmett, which I had in my parlay too. So you had a 3-fight parlay that cashed in. It was supposed to be 20 getting you 220 on a 4-fight parlay, but it wound up being a 3-fight parlay, so I don't know what the final payout was. But still, with the Sabatini pick, which was plus 180, that was a very good pick, AJ, and you threw that on the parlay, and it cashed in big time last week. So
I've always liked Pat Sabatini. I've always seen him like fighting, back in the days in lesser organizations, and he was always impressive. And, coming up against Brito, who was like a jiu-jitsu champion, I said, you know what, Pat Sabatini is, he's up there. He could submit him. And Brito's a beast. But the thing is with Sabatini, he's so like under the radar a lot of times. And, I'm always very confident when he comes in and fights. And he was very impressive on a decision win, but, impressive.
I think that was the fight I watched. I think I watched his fight. He wrestled the hell out of Brito, right?
Which is a world champion jiu-jitsu guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's no chump
and he just completely out-wrestled him, didn't he?
Yep.
That was the fight. Yeah, I think that was the one fight I watched from last week's card. Not the best. This weekend better, though. This weekend's much better.
And then you got to give a lot of credit to the Lee Chang Ho, which I wanted to put on my parlay, which we couldn't for some reason. And he KO'd Romeus in round 2. Man, that was like pretty impressive. This is some kid to look at. He's 11-1, and very, very interesting for the future.
All right. We'll take a look at him.
Take a good look at him,
We're going to take a look at UFC 314. We're going to be doing a live watch-along for UFC 314 coming up on Saturday night. AJ and I will be live in studio together again. 10 p.m. Eastern time. We'll watch the pay-per-view with you. That'll be fun. Oof. We've got some baseball banter going on in the chat.
Oh, Antoinette,
Johnny
man,
North
don't mess
talking
with her
about
Jays.
Johnny North, the Red Sox fan, talking about his Red Sox beating the Blue Jays today 4-3 at Fenway. And they took 2 out of 3 from that series, which was big because the Blue Jays, I think, started this series in first place in the East. And now they are tied for first with the Yankees, the New York Yankees, baby, who lost 2 out of 3 to the Tigers. But
Johnny's
let's not talk about that
chat.
freezing cold Detroit series that we just had. We won the last game, and that's good enough for me. Okay? We lost the last game to the Pirates and then lost the first 2 games to the Tigers. It was a 3-game losing streak for the Yankees that they broke yesterday with a win, which was necessary, super necessary, as Masvidal might say. It had to happen. And then tomorrow they host the Giants in the Bronx, which will be tough because the NL West is very tough. But yeah, Antoinette in the chat saying, don't talk about the Jays. And Johnny North talking about the Jays. So
it's going wild, man.
And the Habs and Leafs hockey game is going to happen Saturday, I guess. They have a game tomorrow? No, Saturday.
Saturday.
Johnny is saying.
Before the watch-along.
Wow. Exciting times in professional sports all around, right? A lot going on.
Well, look, man, we got to give some credit also to Ovechkin, man, who beat Wayne Gretzky's record. Like,
I'm not going to give him
thought
credit.
that happening?
Nah.
What are you talking about, man?
I don't want to give him credit. You said we have to give him credit. I'm going to give him no credit. How about that?
Whoa.
He gets no credit from me. Officially giving Ovechkin 0 credit for anything. How about that?
What?
Just because I can. I can give him no credit. Why do I need to give him credit? He gets enough credit.
Johnny won't like that. That's for sure.
Well, he could suck it, okay? I don't give a damn about my relationship with Alex Ovechkin because it is non-existent and he will never hear this, and who cares? And he could suck it. Okay?
Well, you never know, man.
Well, so what? What? Maybe he's like a fan of the show somehow. He's like one of the few people watching, and he's like, "Hey, you guys, why'd you say that about me? I love your show. I'm Hockey Man." Shut up. It's not happening. Get out of here. Fuck that guy. He sucks. All right. How about that? I'm going further.
That's not cool. That's not cool, man.
I hate him. He's the worst. Who is he?
When's the last time you watched one of his games?
Never, man. I don't watch hockey. Who cares? I'm just AJ's like, AJ's just throwing accolades around. Hey, by the way, Ovechkin did hockey things. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
But okay, man. Like,
came out of nowhere. I
don't watch hockey anymore, but I grew up watching hockey. And if there's one like thing I never thought would be beat, would be like Gretzky's records, man, because Gretzky was so dominating. So for him to beat one of Gretzky's record, props, Alex. Props.
I guess, but I feel like Alex Ovechkin has been playing hockey since I was a child, and he's still playing hockey. So I'm not that impressed by being really good for, like, if you're very good and you play forever, you're going to break some records.
Not really, man.
You should.
Not really.
He's still, I think he's like the 3rd best scorer this year in the NHL. So
I'm
still a productive guy.
There you go. That's what I think.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
How about that? Alex Ovechkin?
That's your opinion, and it sucks.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
I just don't care. I'm not watching it, you know? I'm not watching it. I don't care. It's whatever. Good for him, I guess. You know? Good for him. He scored a lot of goals.
It's an accomplishment,
What did he even do? He scored goals? More goals than Gretzky?
Pass Wayne Gretzky on the all-time scoring goal list.
Goals or points?
Goals.
Does Gretzky still have the points?
Yeah, of
course. Man.
Will he hold on to it, or will Ovechkin pass him there too?
I think Gretzky has more assists than anybody else has points. I'm not 100% sure of that, but it's close to that.
That's insane. My God.
And Dave, man, and I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of hockey fans that listen to our show, including players and coaches, man, at the NHL level. And I know that for a fact. You know, Dean Evison, who's the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, I know he listens to us because
that's nice.
So Gretzky has 1,963 assists, and Jaromir Jagr, who's the second scorer, has all-time points leader, has 1,921 points. So yeah, Gretzky has more assists than anybody else has points.
My goodness, that Gretzky was good at hockey. He was pretty good at hockey.
He was the greatest, bud.
Yeah.
He was the kid.
Bad,
Look at that, number 99. There's a reason for that. 99.
Too bad he's a traitor to his country.
Simon.
Fucking
what? What are you talking about, man? Don't start that shit, man.
Too bad he's a goddamn traitor.
Well, he makes good wine too, man. Have you ever had like the Gretzky wine, man?
No, and I never will, brother.
Man.
Ever been to Gretzky's restaurant in Toronto? Does it still exist?
Definitely not. Never will.
I think it does. Antoinette would know. Antoinette, let us know.
No Gretzky. No Gretzky, bro. It's like no
Gretzky's
Diddy,
the best,
no
man.
Gretzky. It's the same thing. It means the same thing. Okay. UFC 314. Let's get into it. Antoinette says sit down, Dave. I am sitting down. I am sitting down.
Antoinette's getting upset, man.
What does she think I'm doing?
Antoinette, let us know if Gretzky's is still around in Toronto.
Nah, I don't care about that guy.
I do,
Also
man.
him.
If we ever go to Toronto, we're going to go.
Traitor to his country. Traitor! Treasonous!
Talking about Trudeau?
Yeah, him too.
The boxer.
Too. Let's throw them all.
Are you talking about the
Gretzky,
boxer?
All the guys. They can all stay out. All right. UFC 314. Any Canadians on this card? Any other Canadians we can call treasonous? Let's do that.
Let's see. Who could be there? As a closest Canadian would be Bryce Mitchell.
I would say Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper seems halfway Canadian. He's from Washington, the state of Washington. That's basically Vancouver.
Close.
Let's say Chase Hooper's Canadian. All right. Let's call him Canadian.
There is a Vancouver in the state of Washington.
Exactly.
True. Good
and
point.
It's very close to Vancouver, British Columbia. Right. You know what I mean? It's Washington and BC. Basically the same thing, I would say. Chase Hooper is Canadian. And he's also a traitor to his country because he represents America. What a treasonous bastard.
I remember a while back watching NASCAR. There was this guy, Greg Biffle, and they would say he's from Vancouver. So in my head, he was like, oh, he's Canadian. Great, Greg Biffle. But at the same time, he was driving the National Guard sponsored car. And in my head, I'm like, why are they taking a Canadian to sponsor the National Guard? In the end, he was from Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense.
Antoinette confirms, man, the restaurant is still open. That's a good thing. If you ever go to Toronto, we're going with Antoinette.
Won't be open long. I'll be in Toronto on Canada Day weekend to root for the Yankees. That'll be great. I look forward to that. And I won't go to Gretzky's restaurant. I'll tell you that much, brother.
You don't know what you're missing, man.
I don't know what I'm
chicken.
missing.
Go to
Probably
Cluck
not much.
Chicken.
What am I getting?
Cluck Chicken.
Okay.
Clucking good.
All right. We'll see what we can do. We've got UFC 314. It's in Miami this Saturday night.
Baby.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good card. Alexander Volkanovski, Diego Lopes, they are fighting each other for the vacant featherweight championship. What do you say, Fred?
Lopes?
Lopes or Lopes?
Lopes.
Well,
I think Fred is right. It's Lopes.
I think it's Lopes, but because he's Brazilian, right?
Well, half,
right?
I think, right? Isn't he half Mexican, half Brazilian?
Isn't he? Yeah, he lives in Mexico. Anyways, I see here.
I think he lives in Mexico.
He was born in Brazil.
But he's born in Brazil, but I think he lives and trains in Mexico. I think maybe he grew up in Brazil as well. But he moved to Mexico at like 19. So there's like a beef going on. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Yair Rodriguez, Yair and Diego Lopes got into it at the press conference, and they have some beef with their gyms and all sorts of stuff. And Yair is also mad that Diego is like representing Mexico, and a lot of the Mexican people are supporting Diego when Yair is actually from Mexico, born in Mexico, you know? So there's like a lot of, and there's stuff with the gyms. Apparently some of the Diego Lopes friends and teammates jumped one of Yair's teammates. Like, there's all sorts of beef and drama going on between these two guys. Yair's fighting Patricio Pitbull on this pay-per-view. And Diego Lopes is fighting Alexander Volkanovski, but it seems like they would rather fight each other. It seems like Yair and Diego really want to fight each other, and they might get the opportunity to do so if they both win or they both lose. Yeah, or they both lose.
Either or, they're fighting.
Well, if one wins and one loses, maybe not. Unless Diego loses and Yair wins, like maybe. Maybe. What do we think here? We got this fight, Volkanovski, Diego. We got Paddy the Baddy, Paddy Pimblett against Michael Chandler. That's a good co-main event right there. I'll take that. Yair Rodriguez against the debuting former Bellator champion Patricio Pitbull. Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell taking on Jean Silva. Not John Cena.
Québécois.
Close enough. Not
Jean.
He's Brazilian.
Not Jean. Jean.
Jean Silva. Jean Silva. Dominick Reyes taking on Nikita Krylov, and that'll wind up the being the whole pay-per-view card here. Three featherweight fights, one lightweight fight, one light heavyweight fight. It's a pretty good prelim card, too. Jim Miller's fighting Chase Hooper. Darren Elkins against Julian Arosa. Yan Xiaonan against Virna Jandiroba. And Sean Woodson against Dan Ige. The TV prelims are pretty good.
Yeah, pretty decent.
This is one of the more solidly built UFC cards of the year, if not the most complete UFC card that we've seen this year. As far as having a solid pay-per-view from fight one to the main event, and then even some decent TV prelim fights. This is maybe the best pay-per-view on paper of the year. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have someone in the heavyweights just fighting on the prelim, just to make it a little bit more exciting.
But, I mean, the pay-per-view, the card has depth. Okay, like there's a lot of good fights, but the main event, it's a good one. I'm happy, but at the same time, Topuria, to me, is still the champ of that division. I'm a little, I was thinking back of the fact that Topuria vacated his title, and I kind of miss the days of guys really clearing out their division. GSP cleared out his division. Anderson Silva cleared out his division. John Jones cleared out his division. Demetrius Johnson. Those guys defended their titles multiple times, man. And I feel Topuria left a little too quick for the lightweights, and right now he might not even get that Islam fight. I've been reading talks that Islam might be going up in weight also. So I don't know, man. Volkanovski Lopes is a great fight, very very good fight. Lopes is on a great sequence. Volkanovski's a legend. To me, it's still Topuria, the champion. Topuria should be defending that title, I feel. But it's a great card, man. Look, it's a great main event, and there's some depth to that card, man. There's a lot of good fights.
I think, obviously Pitbull, Topuria is the champion, and him vacating the belt takes a lot of luster out of this title fight. I think you're 100% right. But I'm still interested in a big Volkanovski fight, and the fact that it's for a belt, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And I'm high on Lopes right now, man. I'm going to go right away and say I'm picking Lopes, man. He's been on a very good streak lately. I think he's younger, hungrier. Volk has had some tough fights in recent years. Mm-hmm. So I'm leaning towards Lopes. I think it's going to be a tight fight. Don't think I'm going to put him on my parlay, because I feel Volkanovski does have a shot of winning. But I'm gonna go with the younger guy that's been on a hot streak, man. He's what, like he has, I think, 5-6 fights in a row that he's won. So Lopes is looking good right now, and he's beating some good competition.
Yeah, Lopes has won 5 in a row. He's 30 years old. Volkanovski, 36 years old, has lost 2 straight by knockout to Islam Makhachev, and Ilia Topuria hasn't fought since February of last year. It's been a while for Volk, and that makes sense coming off the knockouts. But the fact that he's 36, hasn't fought in over a year now, and is coming off 2 straight knockouts, doesn't give me a lot of confidence in Alex Volkanovski. Odds makers like him. He is currently the favorite, minus 135. Diego Lopes, plus 105, the underdog. Patrick C. Hamilton dropping a 777 super chat. Thank you, Patrick. He says going with Lopes and $5 on AJ's picks. Going with AJ's picks and Diego Lopes in the main event. I'm going with Lopes as well. I just think, this sport is momentum, is age, it's timing, it's getting the right fight at the right time. I think if this fight took place 2 years ago, Volkanovski wipes the floor with Lopes, but this is a different situation, a different Volkanovski and a different Lopes. It's just different. It's a different time right now, and I got Diego Lopes winning this fight. And I don't know. Volkanovski after this, 36 is real old for a featherweight. It's real old for a featherweight.
And it's tough, because it's so hard to think that we would go, like you guys are saying, going against Volkanovski. But at 36 years old, and what he's contributed to that division has been incredible. The guy's always been a champ no matter what. But it's such a tough fight for him because this is his last stand. And when you think about it, it's like he has to either prove a point or he's going to have to step aside. And I think, these are the type of fights that can retire you. And Volkanovski, man, he's proven so much. And when you look at his losses, he's lost to Islam and Topuria, 2 of the best in the game. So there's nothing to cry about. But the problem is that this Lopes, man, on the mat and his stand-up, the guy is phenomenal. He's a submission artist. He's there. He's right at that 30-year mark. It's so hard for me to go against Volkanovski. I don't want to. But reality speaks, man. He's been 1-3 in his last 4 fights, 36 years old, and there's so much pressure on him that he has to prove. And if he can't get it done, he's going to step away. He's not going to be a gatekeeper in that division anymore. Volkanovski has proven enough that he'll walk away. He's had a great career, but this Lopes, man, when you see him fight, he's only getting better. And like Fred said, he's on a streak, and there's a reason for that. He's only gotten better. And look, his credentials speak for themselves. The guy he's on his way to the top, and unfortunately, Volkanovski's on his way out.
Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting in this one. That's the feeling I'm getting from even Volkanovski leading up to it, and the embedded and the interviews. He's kind of like, well, let's see if this young guy can, beat me. I'm still here. Let's see what happens. And he's kind of like, I'm basically done. Let's see if this guy's got what it takes to beat me.
Let me tell you what I didn't like of the embedded. You mentioned the embedded. Like Volkanovski, what's up with his team, man? Volkanovski is cooking, cleaning, everything, man. Come on, man. Help the guy, man. He shouldn't be doing all that, man. They got him like
it seemed like he wanted to do it.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. He shouldn't be the one doing it, man. Come on.
No.
The only thing that worries me about this fight, when I'm just thinking about it, is that Volkanovski has like cardio, through the roof, and that's the only thing where if he could really like make it a tough couple of first rounds to Lopes, he could gas that guy out, and that's the only time I can see some danger where we're gonna lose our bet. But if Lopes is able to handle it and keep him, man, like in that pocket and just work what he does and get him to the ground and keep like that top control, he's gonna win the fight. But the only kryptonite is, will he burn out?
We'll see. I got Lopes. Fight, man. I think Lopes wins and wins by a finish. I think he takes out Volkanovski, probably a TKO in the second or third would be my guess. Maybe the first if he hits the right one.
Welcome,
bud. Who's in? Who's in the house?
Antoinette gifting a membership to CSL Lorne. Thank you, Antoinette.
Wow, Antoinette, man.
There you go.
She still loves you, Dave, after you insulted her.
I'm not going directly at her. I'm just saying what I think. I'm stating my opinions.
But
you
we
can
love
agree
you,
with them or
Antoinette.
disagree with. I'm not insulting anybody except for Wayne Gretzky, that treasonous bastard. You know? Maybe Alex Ovechkin.
Bring
too,
back Don Cherry.
You're
Bring back
insulting
Gretzky,
the entire nation of Canada right now, Dave.
Pretty
please.
much, Dave.
I'm not impressed
Pretty
by
much,
your
man.
performance.
Whatever.
Even George is going to be disappointed.
That's fine. Come at me. What are you gonna do?
I mean,
Georgie!
you better ask Joe Rogan for refuge because you won't be allowed in Canada no more.
He doesn't live in. He's not coming to Canada. What do you mean? I gotta ask.
I know,
him
but
for
I mean, you won't be able to come to Canada no more after calling Wayne Gretzky a traitor.
check the pulse of the
Can't go-
nation, Fred. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
It's hard. If you go to Nova Scotia, dude, there are big Gretzky fans out there. So
The pulse
your
of the
summer
nation
vacations are
and the
done.
media is
Sure.
two different things.
Okay,
Whoa.
If
dude,
you say
that's
so.
It's true, man.
I disagree, but that's fine. Let's get back to the fights. Michael Chandler is taking on Paddy Pimblett.
Paddy the Baddy, baby.
Yeah. I
Well,
think,
that's
again,
the Cha-Ching fight.
this is another situation of Chandler is 38. He's lost 2 in a row. He got pretty well handled by Charles Oliveira in his last fight. Paddy the Baddy, 30 years old, has won a bunch of fights in a row now. 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. Obliterated King Bobby Green in his last
Good
fight.
old Bobby.
Just ran right through him. That was last July. It's been a while since we've seen Paddy the Baddy. But here he is in a very big fight, maybe the biggest fight of his career against a big name in Michael Chandler. Chandler, who had that 2-year layoff waiting for Conor McGregor, who never showed up. Then he decided, well, I'll fight somebody. Fought Charles Oliveira, lost. Now he's back. Chandler needs a win. At 38, he really needs a win.
You know what? This is the UFC basically needs Paddy to win. It's almost like replacing Conor with Conor number 2, which is Paddy. Like, they need that star. Paddy is that star. Like, everybody recognizes him. Everybody knows his hairstyle. Everybody loves his accent. Paddy is that star. And if he could beat Chandler and get big names under his belt, this is what the UFC needs. I'm telling you, there's people on that brass banking on the fact that Paddy wins this fight. It's going to be a wild fight. You know, Michael Chandler, man, he's unbelievable. But I think if it's a stand-up fight, I think, Paddy is able to do exactly what he's been doing in the last many fights. He's a beast, and, he's only 30 years old. He's just coming into the Paddy days, man. We've got 5 more years of Paddy. I don't think we got 5 more years of Chandler.
Yep. I think you're right. I just think, time, age, again, similar to the other fight that we just talked about. It's a timing thing.
Age, I fully agree, but I'm going to add another point is size. Like, I'm looking at these two face-to-face. Paddy cuts a lot of weight in. He's much taller. Like, he looks bigger. I'm going to go with Paddy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he rear naked chokes him or something like that. So I'm going to go with Paddy by submission.
I like it.
Yeah, he could get that done.
Yeah, I think
this is going to be a tough fight.
Paddy wins. I'm not sure if it's a submission. I'm not. It's tough for me to call method, but yeah, submission makes sense. It does. I could see it going. This is a 3-round co-main, right? I could see this just going 3. 3 decision. Paddy wins 30-27, maybe 29-28 type of thing. I think it goes to decision if I were to pick. 3 rounds.
There's going to be a lot of. Yeah, somebody could get hurt in those 3 rounds because these guys can throw punches, man. It's going to be a wild fight. But, I mean, Paddy's going up against Chandler, who's the closest to a champion, than Ferguson was or Bobby Green, for that matter. So he has to be careful, and he can't, sit back and kind of, wait and pace that fight. He has to go heavy, Paddy. And he really has to go heavy and win like exceptionally, because if he does, man, he becomes a bigger star on Saturday night than he ever was.
Yeah, he probably gets into the top 10, top 5-ish of lightweights. Where's he at now?
Yep.
I don't know if he's in the top 10 now, Paddy the Baddy. Let's see. I would say probably not quite top 10 at 155, but Chandler's in there. Chandler is ranked 7th right now. Paddy the Baddy is ranked
2 and 4 in the
12th.
UFC. I feel like Chandler's ranking in the UFC is a little bit boosted, man. He's 2 and 4 with wins over Tony Ferguson and Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Dan Hooker fight was a good one, but he was a former champion, right, Fred? Yeah, it was a former champion too, right? So that's why he's got like that credentials. But
yeah, he's fighting the top of the division.
He's 38 years old now.
Yeah, he's fighting the top.
Paddy. I feel confident.
But yeah, I got Paddy. I'm pretty confident in Paddy winning. And then Paddy will get himself in the top 10 of the lightweight division, and then we'll see. Then he'll get some really big fights. Paddy and Islam Makhachev would sell. I don't know if that's a fight that makes sense in any kind of way. Like, it's tough. But if Paddy beats a number 7 guy, you can start pushing towards Paddy versus Islam, which would be a money fight.
Oh yeah.
I think Islam destroys Paddy. I think it's a really bad matchup for Paddy. But Islam's a bad matchup for everybody, so what the hell? Roll the dice, right? Like, if Paddy can beat Chandler, maybe Paddy gets in a title shot conversation. If it's not Topuria,
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. He shouldn't be going over Topuria. If Topuria went up in weight, man, as the champion, I believe he should get the title shot.
I agree. But, past that, if Paddy the Baddy can get past Chandler, down the road, maybe with another fight, another win for Paddy, he's like right there for a title shot, which is kind of crazy. He's come a long way, Like, and the UFC might have themselves a real star with Paddy the Baddy. People love this guy. He's charismatic. He's got a good look. Could be something there with Paddy the Baddy. Very big fight for Paddy and the UFC. Like, his whole career depends on beating Michael Chandler here on Saturday night. Yair Rodriguez and Patricio Pitbull. How will Yair welcome Patricio to the UFC? Patricio coming off a TKO win over Jeremy Kennedy back in March of 2024 for Bellator. And he hasn't fought since last year. Yair, a little bit more active, 32 years old. Has lost 2 in a row, though, including a loss to Brian Ortega. Oh, that was also last year. Yair hasn't fought in a while. Thought he fought once since then. He has not. Yair coming off a couple losses. Patricio coming off a win. 2 losses and a win in his last 3 fights, though. And he's 37 years old. Odds makers think he's going to get a difficult welcome into the UFC. Let me see the odds on this one. I'm pretty sure Yair minus 210, the underdog, the favorite, and Patricio plus 160, the dog. So odds makers like Yair. I do too. I think Yair beats Patricio. Patricio Pitbull had a really good career in Bellator, but man, he's 37. And his best days are several years ago in Bellator. I'm a little surprised the UFC signed him. Because, why?
I mean, I see that recent loss to Sergio Pettis. That's kind of a red flag that goes Sergio Pettis is a nice little fighter, but he's not in the UFC no more. And who's Chihiro Suzuki? So, yeah, he's been losing some fights that make you wonder. And I'll put another thing again. I'm going to go back to the size. Yair is much taller than him. I don't know if you guys saw the face-off. Yair has some size on him. He has some length. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I bet he has a good amount of reach also on him. So I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez winning this fight for sure.
Yep. I like Yair in this one.
Look, man, and he's probably one of the most unpredictable fighters in the UFC. When you look at him, man, you never know if he's going to come out to win or not. And he didn't look great against Ortega. So if you look at that fight, you're like, holy shit. And let's not forget who Pitbull was. Back in Bellator, he definitely was the king of the throne. This guy is unbelievable. And it's too bad he's coming to the UFC now. Because if he was in his prime, he would be a megastar in the UFC. There's no doubt about it. But there's one thing with this guy. He's super well-rounded, and he has the experience, to go up against like deadly guys. And the thing with Yair Rodriguez is that, like I said, he's so unpredictable. Yeah, he's bigger, longer reach, and whatnot. But I'm going the opposite side on this. I think Pitbull wants to come in and make a statement. I think he's going to do the opposite of what everybody else did from Bellator coming into the UFC. This guy's coming in, regardless of 37, I think Pitbull is going to actually take it. I think he's going to be able to manhandle Yair.
He's going to do the opposite that what Chandler did when he started in the UFC?
Yep.
That's what you're saying?
Because I think so.
Chandler won his first fight.
I know. No, you're right. But that was a different Chandler at the time, I just think Pitbull just evolved better in the MMA scene, and I think he's coming into the UFC, and I think it's a great time for him. If he does win, it'll be another start for the UFC in some sense.
I think his best times were 6 years ago when he beat Michael Chandler. I think that was Pitbull's best times. About 6 years ago. When he was 31 and still in his prime.
Look, I'm happy to see him get a chance in the UFC, but
but they need stars, I think. I think it's just like they need people whose names you could recognize. And as far as MMA goes, he's been around for a while, so yeah, he's a good fight for Yair. It's a nice opponent for Yair, but I think Yair probably pulls it off.
In recent weeks, we've been complaining about the star power, so a guy like Pitbull makes sense to be in the UFC. Like those guys, and I don't know if you guys saw GFL, they're not going to have their shows.
Yeah.
A bunch of those guys on that roster, could probably still be in the UFC and draw some crowds, draw some viewership. So, yeah, the UFC needs some of these older veterans that are still willing to fight. And that's why I'm never one to tell a guy like, oh, you should retire. I think, if a guy's still competitive and wants to compete at the highest level, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't think Jim Miller should be the only one that gets to do it. Jim Miller's on this card.
Yeah, it's a great
example.
But
Jim Miller is there, but Jim Miller doesn't, for some reason, he doesn't seem to absorb a lot of the wear and tear like somebody like Tony Ferguson did. And there was a point where Tony was fighting. We were like, man, he's got to step away.
Yeah, I'm not talking White
about has to do
Tony.
Something.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? There's some guys that, like the UFC right now is lacking a little bit of depth on their roster, for some we've been complaining in recent weeks of some of these cards that are a little bit weak. So a guy like Patricio Pitbull makes a lot of sense to have on your roster. That's a name. Might not be at his top level anymore, but he's still a name and he's still a legit fighter.
Yep.
I mean, Sage Northcutt wanted to fight for this GFL. He's 29 years old. Bring back Sage Northcutt.
I said that last week, man. I said
Bring him back.
I agree with you. Bring him back now.
All these guys that still have something left, and let's see, because at least we know their names. How about
You're
that,
right.
UFC? Let's start signing some nostalgia people and make it a little bit more interesting, so we know the names of the people we're watching.
And Sage is only 29 years old, man. He's still he can still do something in the UFC.
There you go. You can be a Hitler sympathizer and stay on the roster because you have a name like Bryce Mitchell, yet Sage Northcutt doesn't get to be on the roster. Bryce Mitchell's on this card. He's fighting Jean Silva. I think he's going to get knocked out. I think Bryce Mitchell's here to get destroyed by Jean Silva. I think that's the whole point. Silva minus 230, the favorite. Mitchell, the underdog in this one. Silva's last fight was devastating. Extremely impressive knockout of Melsik Bagdasaryan back in February. And he immediately called out Bryce Mitchell, and the UFC said, okay, you're the guy that's going to beat up Bryce Mitchell. And I think that's the plan. So I got Jean Silva I'm putting him on my parlay too because I think this is a setup, which is great. I don't always love a setup, but when it's to set up Bryce Mitchell for a vicious beating, I'm fine with that. It's cool by me.
He's part of the Fighting Nerds, so he's there to make a statement. There's no doubt about it.
Jean Silva.
The thing I would be scared for that prediction is that, again, the face-off, I see fucking Bryce Mitchell towering. Like, he's taller, has some size on Silva. And if he manages to get him on the ground, that's going to be an issue for Silva. But yeah, if the fight stays standing up, I think Silva has this win. To me, it's all about like if Silva is able to keep it up. Like people were mentioning his fight against Jourdain, and Jourdain took him down 4 times in that fight. I watched the fight. One of the 4 times was a little fluky takedown, but the 3 others were legit takedowns that he got. And if we're honest, Bryce Mitchell is a better wrestler than Charles Jourdain. So I could see maybe Mitchell having some success there, but hey, it's a 3-round fight, and Silva, like he said himself, he got taken down a bunch by Jourdain, but he ended up getting the knockout. So he's going to be dangerous throughout the fight, but that's what I would be scared for Silva, for him to be taken down. And I'm going to pick Silva to win, but I'm not going to put him on my parlay because I'm kind of scared of a wrestle type of fight that he loses a decision.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going the same way with Freddie. I was thinking about putting this on my parlay, but I was going back and forth, and it's one of those where, man, Silva, if he stands up, like his striking accuracy is up there. He's at like 59% striking accuracy. But the thing is that his takedown defense is so weak that going up against a guy like Bryce Mitchell, if Bryce Mitchell is able to control 3 rounds, just with the top game, he's going to win by decision. But, at any moment, he could get knocked out, But I'm going to keep this off my parlay as well. I think Jean Silva can knock him out, but I also think Bryce Mitchell can wear him out. So it's, it depends who goes in there with a better attitude and the better, want to win. But it's going to be one to keep off the parlay because this could be either or in a very, very short period.
All right, well, speaking of parlays, let's get right into it. I'm going to give you mine because I'm putting him on my parlay. I'm ignoring you, AJ.
Hey, man, you don't want to talk about Dominick Reyes, man?
No, he's going to lose. I've got him losing.
He's going to lose. I agree.
Yeah, I've got him losing on my parlay. I've got Nikita Krylov minus 190 to beat Dominick Reyes. Reyes has won a couple in a row, but the resurgence is over on Saturday night. Krylov minus 190. Paddy the Baddy over Michael Chandler. Pretty confident in Paddy winning on Saturday. And Jean Silva to beat the hell out of Bryce Mitchell in a setup fight. The UFC is setting this one up. They want Mitchell to lose so they can get rid of the headache and they don't have to be responsible for his words anymore. 20 will get you 71-17 over at bet99.com. It's a 3-fight parlay plus 256. Silva, Pimblett, Krylov.
But Dave, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think Bryce Mitchell brings a lot of eyes. They like the drama of the UFC. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if it's good or bad marketing.
It's not the kind of drama you want, AJ. Maybe it's the kind of drama
don't want that,
think is okay, but it's not.
I know, but he still brings. No. We're still talking about him and his drama. No. I think there might be somebody on the brass or many people on the brass that would like to see him continue. But
yeah, well, he's a good heel for sure. You want to see him get his ass kicked, but past that,
exactly.
I don't know. Once I see it one time, I think I'll be good and we can move on and never see him fight again. I think that's where we're headed. All right, Fred, what do you got for me? You got a parlay?
Yeah, I got Nikita. I got Diego Lopes. I got Yair Rodriguez, and I got Paddy Pimblett.
Paddy the Baddy.
Paddy and Yair. Wow. It is a 4-fight parlay from Team Fred, including a big win for Diego Lopes as the underdog in the main event. 20 gets you 150, 11 over at bet99.com. It's Paddy the Baddy. It's Yair. It's Diego Lopes over Volk and Nikita Krylov over Reyes. Look at that. Look at those numbers.
Nice payoff.
Very nice. It's Team Fred. Now, AJ, I know
well,
you have
boys,
a parlay, and you've won 3 in a row.
Got a parlay.
So let's see here. See what you have for us.
A crystal ball of mine, man, is working so far. I got rid of the Romanian ball, and I got a special one now. So I'm going to go with, as the ball said, go with Diego. So Diego is my pick. Paddy the Baddy for sure. I mean, nothing's for sure, but I think he has a good opportunity to win. And then I'm going to go the opposite. I think Patricio is coming in, and he's going to make a statement. He's going to be the one from Bellator to make that statement. He should have been in the UFC a long time ago, but he's going to do it on Saturday night. I'm telling you, Yair is like, he's unpredictable, this guy. If he fights really well, yeah, he'll win it. But experience, 36-7, Patricio, go for it. And then I'm going to go with Nikita. I think Nikita, I'm on the page with you, which is kind of hard because you know how much I like Dominick Reyes, But this is a different time. And 30-9 Nikita over like 14-4 Dominick Reyes, which isn't so bad of a record for Dominick Reyes when you think about it. Technically it should have been 15-3, but.
Here we go again. Are we done here with your parlay? Is that it?
That's it, baby.
Okay. There's AJ's parlay. It's Patricio the Pitbull, plus 160. It's Nikita the Krylov, minus 190. It's Diego Lopes, plus 105. And it's Paddy the Baddy, minus 160. It's a plus 1222 parlay. AJ is on fire, though. 20 will get you 264.40. It's pretty good. Pretty good payout there for Team AJ. Pretty good.
I've been cashing out for people the last 3 weeks. And I think, the only thing I went against you guys was like Pitbull. So it's either a hit or miss on Saturday.
Yep. We'll see if you hit or miss.
Patrick, man, $5, man. I hope you bet on me the last week's, but Yair, man, he makes me uncomfortable all the time.
Johnny North says, don't forget to talk about Hook puking last night, Dave. What happened?
What?
Hook puked on Dynamite? I didn't see that. Haven't got there yet. I don't know. John, you'll have to talk to me about that tomorrow night when we do Wrestling Uncensored. Oh, wait, John won't be on Wrestling Uncensored this week, right?
Johnny's
right,
wrestling.
John? You're wrestling this week? I think? There's no John this week. Hook puked? I didn't even see that. I have to talk about that? Who does he think he is? Draws? He's gonna.
Oh, Johnny's talking about our action figures.
I haven't got there yet. Wow, Hook threw up during the main event of Dynamite. Gross.
Did you see that? Johnny's saying our action figures are okay.
Yeah,
but not as cool as his wrestling buddy.
Yeah, well, his wrestling buddies are real. Our action figures are just type.
Yeah, show our action figures, man. That's the coolest thing I've seen like in the longest time. The starter pack.
Yeah, we could show you the Ringside Report action figures. Are they coming soon? Are we making these? I don't like the look of me. I look weird.
What are you talking about? You look great, man. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
I feel
he's got his
like
Game Boy. He's got his two Jamaican bats. There's Freddie.
Look at the Fred one.
There's Mike, the bat, and the NASCAR.
Looks fat.
Nice.
Dave, you kind of look old, I find. On you.
I know, I look old.
Look at that.
It's weird.
Mike Khabib had a nice bottle of wine. This is exactly the perfect starter pack.
Look, I like you got a little NASCAR, Fred.
Good.
Got a little weed joint, got a little NASCAR.
Number 3 there. Okay.
Dale Earnhardt. Good number.
There you go. The Ringside Report action figures coming soon? Maybe. I don't know. Dave looks old. Fred.
What can we make them? Can we get them done for real or?
No. These are not real. These are just pictures.
But if there's a company
you're not supposed to say that, bro.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe. The thing is, who's gonna? I mean, are we
DJ wants one, man. DJ, you got one.
So maybe we've got one or two.
I'm gonna buy my own.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe we
you
do
can
make.
Toss
them.
it to your if you have like a dog at home, it could be a perfect dog toy.
All the young guys at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu will buy a Fred action figure for sure. He's like a hero to those.
100%. With the Jamaican bat and like the NASCAR?
Yeah, they would love it.
It's a soul.
They would love it. All right, so those are maybe coming soon. I will be back tomorrow.
Thank you, man.
I'll be back tomorrow without Johnny. I'll be here with my brother, I hope.
Johnny.
Johnny's wrestling this weekend, so yeah. I'll be back tomorrow night for Wrestling Uncensored. We'll talk about all the wrestling. SmackDown will happen tomorrow. We'll talk
Johnny,
about
you got a
Raw
promo
that happened. Man. What, AJ? Why are you talking over me?
We got a promo, man. We got to promo Johnny's fight. Like, I want to go watch it. If
it's in Sudbury, Ontario. You're going to Sudbury tomorrow?
It's in Sudbury.
More info on his Instagram at Genesis Johnny North, on Twitter at North Genesis, okay? Go find out his info there. Tomorrow with Gangrel. He's teaming with Gangrel, legend of WWF, brother.
Real?
Gangrene?
Cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Johnny's cool.
That's amazing.
Johnny does cool things.
Johnny's a big superstar, man.
Yeah. Johnny's
My
the man.
kid is all into Johnny North, man.
Everybody loves
It's all
Johnny.
about Johnny.
That's right.
See, I got Johnny in front of me. Mixed with the Green Phantom.
Okay, I'll be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Ringside Report Network for Wrestling Uncensored. Thank you to Patrick C. Hamilton. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Shout out to all the members, Patrick, Antoinette, Leor, Angelo. I didn't see Angelo tonight, but he's here. He's somewhere.
Where's Angelo, man?
And all the other members over at join.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for supporting the channel. We will see you again real soon right here. Don't forget, Saturday night, UFC 314 watch-along, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.